What's up, traders? This is Vee Trades, and today I will be doing a technical analysis breakdown for strategy with the ticker symbol MSTR. I will first be going over what I see on the daily chart and finish the video off with the weekly chart. This video is for entertainment purposes only. Please trade at your own risk. Hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving and a Black Friday. Let me know what you guys bought in the comments down below. So let's take a look at the analysis for MSTR. And you can see that the market valued the stock slightly higher than it did on Wednesday, but not by much, just under a percentage point. So the candle really does not look bullish at all or inspire confidence for higher prices. One candle in isolation doesn't mean a lot, but typically, it's not a good sign, right? So basically, price traded all the way up to 187.29 on the high of the day, and then it traded right down to fill in that gap that it created. So not really the strongest looking candle close. So it looks a little bit bearish, and we're still near the lows of this downtrend, very sharp downtrend that started back in October 6th. So December 6th will be 2 months of a very aggressive downtrend. So it's not a good sign, especially we've been going down since last year, November. And we're at the same price level as in October of 2024. And if you even go further out, that's March 18th, March of 2024 as well. So at the same price level. So this is not indicative of a bull market, right? No matter how you look at it, typically a stock should not come back to where it started, more than a year and a half later, right? That's not a bull market any longer. So with that being said, if we are having that bias in our mind that this has been a top confirmed and we are in a bear market, now we can look for downward price targets. And that's what I've been doing this entire time. So we measured this prior leg right here, and then we extrapolated that out to the next possible leg, and that is targeting right around 142, 143. And that has been in place since right back over here. Since basically it topped out in July, that leg has been in play. You can see that if you just move it over, it's been slowly tracking towards that arrow tip, and we're almost there, right? Maybe another week or two. It's not guaranteed to get there, but these are highly reliable, and you can even argue saying this is close enough. We might not even get there at all. Either way. So this is still in play, though. We have not tested it yet. So it's tracking towards 143. This is like a typical take profit zone for the short sellers. So a little bit more downside momentum or a incentive for the aggressive sellers to continue driving down the price. You can also look at a macro channel. You drag it off the swing highs. You take this swing to this swing. You drag it onto the lows right over here, and then you can get a channel. And that parallel line is right around that 140s, 120s level. That's what that orange circle represents. You can see that this could be the target for that downward trend before we see a more aggressive bounce. And that's all theoretical, right? Obviously, we can stop right now and reverse up higher. We can always just blast right through those levels. We don't know exactly what's going to happen. I'm just going over what's the most likely situation. Most likely situation is we stay below the downtrend and we continue trending down lower to about the 140s before we see maybe a bigger bounce. That's typically what happens in the market, maybe more times than not. But again, the chart is not that bullish still, right? It's still a lot of bearish signs. Anything below 236 is bearish. Why? Because that was prior support right here. And price just sliced right through that level. It just broke right through it. And if we do come back up to it, it can act as resistance for price to continue down lower. So anything below 236, I would say is bearish territory. It's most likely going to send price down lower. Unless we see a clean break above it and probably price at least holding it or showing some sort of pattern that it looks bullish, I would say all this is still bearish territory. So MSTR, we had a holiday on Thursday. Today it was slightly bullish, but it kind of reversed most of the gains throughout the day. Not looking that convincing for higher prices just yet, but I wouldn't completely write it off because we can still move up higher towards probably the 200 level. That's kind of where the top side of this trend line is at. Maybe come back to the EMA 212, maybe even all the way to the breakout zone of 236. So those are still in play, but I'm just saying the candle today is not a good sign. Overall, again, if we are predicting that that is a top, you can just do an 80% retracement. Most likely, it's going to drop at least 80%. That takes it to right about 107. And if it goes to 90%, that takes you to about $50. So between 107 and $50 is potentially going to be the low for the stock. It can go lower. It might not even reach it at all. But we're just going off of what's more likely to occur. If that is the top, and just like the last cycle, it dropped 90%. So if this is the top, I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt and just saying 80%. Being conservative there. We already dropped 70%, right? So we're not that far away from. We dropped 68, 70%. We're not that far away from 107, right? Just another couple bad weeks, and we're pretty much right to 100. So it's not that far away. We're closer to $100 than $300. It's a lot easier to drop it down to $100 than go all the way to $300 for this situation. So that's the position MSTR is in. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin, bounced off its lows of the downtrend, and it made a nice pullback. Typically, this is still looking like a pullback. In the macro sense, it's still in an uptrend. We have not invalidated that prior low at 75,000, 74,000, whatever. We have not invalidated that yet. So this is still a macro uptrend. But in the short term, it has been very bearish, right? We've been seeing a huge drop down basically since early October. So it's about 2 months of a downtrend in play, and it has not broken outside of that channel yet. So Bitcoin, even though the uptrend is in play in the long term, the downtrend is in play in the short term, and now they're kind of battling each other out right in this zone right here. So we'll see what happens, but I've been giving Bitcoin the benefit of the doubt, but maybe MSTR is an indicator, indicating that it might be leading Bitcoin to new lows, a significant low. So we'll see what happens. Bitcoin, it's really not pushing up. One thing I really don't like about this chart is that look at these candles, right? Look at these red candles. These red candles are massive, right? Big candle there, big candle here, big candle here. Like these red candles are strong selling pressure, right? And then look at the bulls. They're very weak. Look at these tiny candles that are green, tiny. These are starting to get a little bit bigger, but still tiny relative to the red ones. So I don't like that, right? It's not a good sign that the green candles are much smaller in size relative to the red candles, especially after a significant low. You'd expect this to like blast out of here by now, and it's still taking its time, which is not a good sign. It's indicative like a corrective structure instead of a reversal structure. So again, not a good sign here. It's not the end of the world, but it's not a good sign, right? This is not what you want to see. You want to see it start blasting out like right over here. You could argue saying, hey, it didn't blast out before on these other cycle lows or these pivot lows, as you can see here. They didn't blast out there. It didn't blast out here. It took a while. So that's what I'm saying. I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt because we're still above the trend line and the bullish trend line. But again, I'm losing patience for this stock, for this commodity or this asset. It may just continue to just, beeline just straight down. I wouldn't be surprised, right? I think a lot of people are expecting a huge bounce up. We might not even get that, right? If you extrapolate this channel, we can get to like $40,000, $60,000 by end of the year, right? It can get really that ugly. People aren't really prepared for just a straight drop down without significant pullbacks. And as of right now, it's kind of looking like that. We'll see what happens. But again, Bitcoin's a lot more bullish than MSTR, but I'm losing patience for this, and I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt, right? I'm looking at the channel, and the channel has not been invalidated yet, this long-term channel. And then we'll go from there. The Bitcoin Volatility Index, man, is this thing broken or what, right? It keeps on creeping up higher, but we only see lackluster volatility for the bulls, right? When the volatility increases, I'm expecting big green candles, and we're seeing little tiny candles, and this thing keeps on climbing up. And then once the selling pressure starts, it's big red candles all of a sudden. So I don't know what to say about this thing, but it is climbing up, right? It is in a bull trend. Trend line is still in play. EMA is pointing up, a lot of room to the upside. So volatility will most likely continue to climb if that's going to have any play for Bitcoin's price. Gold's price divided by Bitcoin's price, still very bullish, right? We're at the highs of this uptrend that's been going up since basically the start of this year. And it may just continue moving up higher. It's just really strong momentum, these precious metals. So as of right now, it's a potential high, but it's not confirmed yet. It's it still looks like a correction instead of a reversal. And then Bitcoin's price divided by MSTR's price gets to this ratio. Still very strong, 512. Not too long ago, we were looking at it at the 300. So you can see the outperformance against MSTR, which is not saying much because they're both kind of going down. It's just not going down as much. But this chart basically tells me continued outperformance. As you see, it's following kind of this drawing right to about 600, 630, 640s. And then we'll go from there. But yeah, the trend looks like it's getting stronger. So either Bitcoin starts outperforming a significant amount and leaves MSTR in the dust, or they both go up, but Bitcoin goes up a lot more, or they both go down, and Bitcoin goes down a lot less. So that's what the chart represents. So all I have today for MSTR, Bitcoin, and the ratio charts, just not looking good right now. Might have to just go away, come back in a year, and then see where they're at. I mean, if I wasn't looking at the charts and this wasn't my daily thing, then I would just do that because I'm just tired of looking at these charts saying the same thing over and over again. I just want to kind of just bottom out sometime next year, 80% drop, $100. Go in easy. Maybe it starts dropping more, going harder. Just depending on what happens, right? Same thing for Bitcoin, 40,000, go in extremely heavy. This is not going to disappear. I'm like all about Bitcoin. 99.999% is going to be succeeding right in the future, and you can even say 100%. Like it's just almost a certainty. I can't give it a 100%, but like close enough. This is the most certain thing I can be on without being 100% certain about Bitcoin in the long term, that it will be repricing the entire world, and it'll be millions of dollars, millions, billions, trillions. It doesn't really matter at that point because it's just the dollar would be just inflated right to oblivion. So all I have today is Vee Trades. Thank you for your time. Be safe, have fun, and do great things.